Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read Esther 31:44. Jonah runs away. Retold by Penny Frank. Once upon a time, there lived a man called Jonah. He was a prophet. God had especially chosen him to take messages to his people. But Jonah did not always do as God said. One day, God said, Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh. It's an enormous city. It's full of people who do bad things. You must tell them that if they go on like this, I will destroy them. The people in Nineveh were enemies of God's people. Jonah wanted God to destroy them, but he did not want to go to Nineveh. I know what will happen, he thought to himself. It has happened before. If I go to Nineveh with that message, the people will be afraid. They will tell God they are sorry, and because He's a loving God, He will forgive them. I would much rather He punish them. So Jonah ran the other way, away from Nineveh. Jonah wanted to get away from God and from Nineveh. So he went down to the sea and asked for a ride in a boat. When the boat had started on its journey, Jonah felt better. God hasn't spoken to me while I've been on the boat, so I must have left him behind, thought Jonah. And I'm certainly going away from Nineveh. But after a little while, a terrible and horrible storm began. The boat went up and down on the enormous waves. The wind blew it in the wrong direction. The sailors were frightened and afraid. They thought they would all be drowned. But Jonah got onto his bunk and went to sleep. When I wake up, the storm will have stopped, he thought. But Jonah slept, but only for a little while. Then the ship's captain came to wake him up. Hey, what are you doing asleep? He asked. We are all going to be drowned. Don't you have a God to pray to? Then Jonah saw how silly he had been. Oh, it's all my fault, he said. My God had sent this storm to stop me running away from him. If you throw me into the sea, the storm will stop. The captain was afraid. He did not want Jonah to drown, but Jonah knew it was the only way to stop the storm. So in the end, they threw Jonah over the side into the water. The storm stopped at once. Then the captain and the other man said, This God of Jonah's must be very powerful. If even the storm obeys him, they didn't know that God had sent an enormous fish to swallow Jonah. Jonah was very frightened. It was slimy and dark inside the fish. Help me, he shouted to God. I can see how stupid I've been. You are a great God and I should be obeying you. After 3 days, the fish spat Jonah out onto some sand. Then it swam away, feeling much better. Now God said to Jonah, please stop being silly. Go to Nineveh, as I told you. So Jonah set off for Nineveh. He could still remember what God had told him to say. Jonah told the people in Nineveh that God was angry about the things they did. He said that God would punish them if they did not change. The people believed him. They told God how sorry they were, and they began to try to please God. It had happened just as Jonah thought it would. Now God did not have to punish the people. Jonah sat down outside the city and sulked. It was very hot. So God made a plant with enormous leaves to grow near Jonah. Jonah enjoyed the shade, but the next day the plant was dead. There was a scorching wind. Jonah was hot and upset. God said, "Why are you so grumpy?" Jonah said, "I'm upset because this plant is dead. I'm angry about Nineveh." God said, "I made that plant, Jonah, and I made the people of Nineveh. If you are sorry for the plant, shouldn't I feel sorry for the people? Be glad that they are still alive to enjoy the life I have given them." The end.